Welcome, everyone, on this, the Sunday after Valentine's Day. It's good to see everyone here, some with the red. Our opening words and call to worship are from the Archbishop Desmond Tutu, a South African activist, author, and purveyor of love, accountability, and forgiveness. And he tells us, we are made for goodness. We are made for love. We are made for friendliness. We are made for togetherness. We are made for all of the beautiful things that you and I know. We are made to tell the world that there are no outsiders. All are welcome. Black, white, red, yellow, rich, poor, educated, not educated, gay, straight, all. We all belong to this family, this human family, God's family. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit to join our voices in the opening hymn. Our opening hymn is hymn number 346, Come Sing a Song with Me.
Please remain standing as Marian Vessels lights our chalice with these words from Eric Hepburn. We light this flame to remind us, love is the center. As we grow and connect, mature and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, life remains.
Oh,
It's good to be with you for the first time. I'm SarahRuth Wekoye Davis. I'm an intern community minister at Annapolis congregation as well as a congregation in Taos. And it's delightful to be here. Today we're going to have a bit of a conversation about home. How we understand home, what home means to us, what makes home different from somewhere that is not home. And so I have a whole bunch of questions, and I'm going to ask those questions, and I invite whoever would like to offer answers to the questions to offer them out in your loudest voice possible so we can all hear. The first question I have is, what language do you speak at your home? And it could be a language, oral language, it could be a nonverbal language, it could be a language that one uses body to communicate. We all communicate in all different kinds of ways, and so I invite folks to answer, what language is important at your home? English. Anyone else? Are we all primarily English speakers in this room? And how many of us say one thing and someone hears something else, right? Even if it's in the same language. Who are the important people in your home, or non-human beings?
My wife and my dog.
A partner and a dog. Yeah. Who else might be some of the important people in a home?
Children.
Children. Yeah, children. Any exotic non-humans at home? There's an axolotl and a couple of parakeets at my house.
We have a crested gecko.
A gecko. Okay.
Great tree frog.
See, here we go. I have to keep the temperatures just right, right?
And mist.
And live crawly things, right?
Hedgehog.
A hedgehog. Oh my goodness. Now that's a less common family member around these parts, right? What kind of care does a hedgehog require?
It's basically a lot like caring for a hamster, but spikier.
Fingers off, huh?
Or gloves.
Look but don't touch.
Just gloves.
Well, gloves. So an accommodation to accommodate your surface to their surface, right? Kind of like a translation, right? Yeah. How do you clean your home and take care of your home? What are some of the things you do to maintain your home?
We pay for it.
Yeah.
So it's still done, right? That's a community event, right? You're sharing something with a community member who's then sharing cleaning your home with you, right?
Dishes.
Dishes, yeah.
Pick up my husband's laundry.
Laundry on behalf of the division of labor, right? We do some things, other people in our home do other things. How do you welcome guests in your home? Food. I'm coming over.
Tea or coffee.
Tea, something, a specific drink and a ritual perhaps that goes with that tea. You might ask them how they like it, sugar, not sugar, honey, right? Like there's a whole thing that goes with it. A hug. Welcome folks with a hug. That's another ritual. Some folks shake hands, some share a kiss on the cheek, right? Depending on the nature of the relationship, it might be a kiss on the lips, depending on the culture, right? Or a hug. We show our affection and our welcome, but do we hug everyone who comes into our home, or do we hug those who are welcomed into our home? Yeah? But depends on the nature, right? Again, there's so much that goes into these layers of how we welcome folks and into our personal private spaces. How is your home different from someone somewhere else?
Has our things in it.
It's where your things are.
Ramps.
It has a specific style that matches your body. Yeah. So I would wager that most of our homes have that, right? A bed that's a specific style for our body, or the faucet on the sink might be a specific way to accommodate how we like to wash dishes. All kinds of different things we might do in our homes to personalize our homes, our things, both the hard, non-movable objects as well as the decorations, all of that, right?
Ours is designed for people who are age 55 and older.
The community. So the whole community is designed for a specific type of body, the bodies that we inherit when we're 55 or older if we're so lucky, right? I'm coming up on that. And how do we know it's your house?
We have keys.
You have a mechanism for entry and for maintaining the boundary between your space and some other people, the keys, yeah?
And a mortgage.
And the responsibility of paying for it, yeah.
Address.
It's where people can reach you. It's where you communicate out. This is where I can be found, right?
My car's in the driveway.
Yeah? Where your things are, the things that take you to and from your home. And why is someone else a guest in your home, but you are not a guest in your home?
They don't live there, your mortgage.
Their responsibility.
They have a different level of responsibility and a different social expectation, yes? If I come into someone else's house, am I expected to go lay on their bed? Depends, but probably not. Unless I'm reenacting Goldilocks or something.
When we have grandchildren over, they probably will lay on.
And then that is a more permeable space, right? Because you welcome them as family and you probably tell them, my home is your home, right? They're expected to have that familiarity with it. For those of us who have gone into dating relationships in later parts of our lives, there's a whole transitional period as you get used to someone around space. And when do you leave your toothbrush there, right? The familiarity of when that becomes somewhat closer to being my home, even though it's not my home, right? These are all interesting questions, are they not? And if we take them into the larger circle of life, into the idea of home being this church that we're in, home being the communities that we live in, home being the country where we reside, how do we answer all of those questions, not just for ourselves, but for all the folks for whom this space could be home? I leave y'all to think on that a little bit as we move into our musical response. Please remain seated for our prayer hymn.
We'll be doing this as a round. So if we could all sing together one time, and then if this side could sing first, and when they get to I reach out to you where that little 2 is, then this side will come in. Love it.
10:23.
Yes, 10:23. Thank you.
us on our excellent round skills. We are now going to move into our time of prayer and silent meditation. I will start us off with a prayer, and in the silence that follows the prayer, you are invited to come forward and light a candle for any joys or concerns you hold in your heart this morning. O Holy One, who we call by many names, we offer our thanks for the rain that waters the earth, for the opportunity for all of us to be here together in this, our spiritual home. We lift up the many burdens we bear with us into this space, the many joys we carry with us. We ask that you offer us your grace, your comfort, and the community of being together. May it be so. for sharing your hearts through the lighting of candles. I will light a candle for the joys and concerns of those beloveds who are joining us virtually. And I will light a candle for all else that we hold in our hearts and in our minds this morning. And please do remember that if your heart is heavy and hurting, your community is here to help, as is Pastor Laura, and please reach out.
In the words of Paul Dalzell, the offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. It is as much a ritual as singing together, lighting our chalice, or reciting our unison affirmation. It is a reminder of that form of love we call generosity. It is how we show that we believe it is important to worship together, to help our community, and to say yes to the values of our faith. For those of you watching the service online, you may contribute to a virtual offering plate or by clicking on the donate button on the church's website. The addresses will be posted in the chat. For all that you give and all that you do for our church and its wider concerns, we give thanks.
So we are performing Let It Be a Dance for You. We're singing Let It Be a Dance for You. I was a little bit conflicted about this because it is such a joyful song. And in this time, it seemed a little bit ironic. But I heard a great quote this week from a creator online who was saying that during the AIDS epidemic, that gay men would bury their friends in the morning, protest during the day, and dance all night. And that the dancing is what kept them in the fight. And so I invite you to find something just to sing you, to keep you in the fight. And let it be a dance.
Our reading today comes from Luke, chapter 10, verses 38 to 42. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet, listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations she had made. She came to him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Please rise as you are able in body or spirit, and join us in hymn 298, Wake Now My Senses."
Nyumbani, and in English, home. Home is where we live. Home is where we sit next to our community. Home is where we eat our food, plant our garden, sweep our floor, and welcome our guests. Home is where we listen to our elders and learn wisdom from their years on earth. Home is where people know us and where we know them. For some of us, home is in many places, born in one place, moving somewhere far away to grow, somewhere else to work, and yet another home to retire. Some of us, born, raised, and spend our lives in a single place. Some of us search for a home for a very long time, wondering when we will find our home. Some of us who've experienced home, seeing changes, question, are we any longer at home? Is this place that we can no longer recognize still our home? And in each home, wherever the home, we learn the culture of that home, the tradition of that home, the language of that home. And for some of us, the survival skills that allow us to survive in that home. all along on our journey towards finding our soul home. When I was very young, I came to the beautiful land of Kenya, to the small village of Shughuli in Kakamega. Nilijifunza kupiga ugali na sukuma wiki, kufua nguo na kulima shamba. In English, I was taught to cook, to care for the home, and to tend the garden. There, in Shughuli, we learned to speak each other's languages and to share each other's traditions. I braided their hair and they braided mine. We made mud dolls together, we chased our siblings together, and we got in trouble with our mothers together. The elders taught us how to be members of the community, to take care of each other, and to live a life of values and honor to our ancestors and in respect to the life force in all of us. My older brother, Brown Nangabo, who is now an ancestor, taught us when I was young the traditional Luya stories, wisdom stories. By the light of the lamp, his voice sometimes fast and sometimes slow, breathing feeling and meaning into the stories, all the while giving us so much laughter that we didn't even know we were learning. And one of my favorite wisdom stories is the story of Mr. Olive the tortoise and how his shell became cracked. How many of you know this story? Mkono. Watch out, let me tell you. This story starts with a plain tortoise named Bwana Tortoise. Bwana Tortoise had a smooth shell, just like all the other tortoises, and they did what tortoises did and do what tortoises do. Who can tell me what tortoises do? Eat lettuce? All right. What else might tortoises do?
Move slowly.
Move slowly. Those on Zoom, I invite you to put your knowledge of tortoises also into the chat.
Swim.
Swim? Maybe? I think that's turtles, though. But you know, I will defer to the experts in the room who are not me on tortoises, except for Bwana Tortoise. So now Bwana Tortoise, he was different than the other tortoises because although he was polite to the face of people, he was actually greedy and selfish, always considering how he could get more for himself. And we have many examples of this in our world today. Those who wish to take and keep for themselves, who look down on others, who build their privilege at the expense of community. We pause to hold them in loving kindness in this time of political turmoil and the renewed opportunity to build the beloved community that we are faced with. Returning to our Luya wisdom story, one day Bwana Tortoise learned of a great feast in the sky, which the mighty birds were holding, and seeing an opportunity to advance his privilege, he devised a plan. Arriving at the party on the back of a kind bird friend, Bwana Tortoise announced, "I'm Mr. All of you." Then he smiled and waited. When the food arrived, Bwana Tortoise, feigning politeness, asked, "Who is this food for?" Predictably, the host bird said, "Well, it's for all of you." Bwana Tortoise jumped up and shouted, "Asante sana, this is wonderful," and promptly ate all the food, ignoring the hunger of everyone else and keeping the feast for himself. The birds and other guests were saddened and frustrated by Mr. All of You's selfishness and tried to talk to him. Together they went to the chief, but Bwana Tortoise, held tightly to his privilege, refused to understand the interdependence of community, argued and said, "I only ate the food that was meant for Mr. All of You, and I'm Mr. All of You." And, angry at the accountability for his actions, he left the community, jumped out of the sky where the party was being held, landed on the ground with a crash, and that is how his shell became cracked. And Today, each time we see a tortoise with a cracked shell, we are reminded of the value of community, of sharing our food, and of our interdependence. Nigerian Dr. Jacob Olupona tells us our religious home cuts across all identities. We all belong to the same lineage, we all share the same blood. We are not going to be divided by religion. We are not going to be divided by religion, even when that religion is dressed up in the terms of political language. This is the call of our Unitarian Universalist faith, to offer a home of hospitality grounded in love to those on the margin and to those in the center. In a different wisdom story, the wisdom story we heard from the book of Luke, chapter 10, verses 38 to 42, we heard the wisdom story of two sisters, Mary and Martha, living in a village, perhaps similar to the small village where I grew up. And in Jewish tradition, very similar to the local customs at home, hospitality is an important value. When we have visitors, we welcome those visitors. And Martha, as the elder woman, is responsible for that hospitality. She's responsible for making sure that the guests feel welcome and are comfortable. And she is following that role that society has set out for her. While her sister, Mary, has chosen the role of disciple and listener, breaking with the social roles for women of her time. How many of us face this dilemma of social expectations and following the calling of our heart, which may not be in alignment with those social expectations? And in this wisdom story, Martha is shown as succeeding in her work. Jesus and the guests are comfortable. Jesus is teaching to his disciples and his followers, including Mary, who's sitting at his feet. Everybody is comfortable. So she has succeeded in this, her work. And Jesus acknowledges and receives Martha's hospitality, simultaneously affirming Mary's choice to sit and listen. This wise teacher shows us the value of communal work and of communal relationality, simultaneously and in harmony. It is the same lesson taught by my brother Brown in the Hallelujah Wisdom story of Mr. All of You, that it is in community, in relationship with one another, in the communal labor of preparing food, and in the communal joy of eating together that we build our homes. Unitarian Universalist minister Cheryl Walker writes, "In true community, we gain a lot. We gain affirmation for who we are, both as individuals and as part of a group. We gain wisdom of others who may have different ideas from our own, so that together we create a vision of a future that we can work toward making real. In true community, we are supported in our life's journeys because we feel safe to be known at our deepest levels, because we are all committed to the health of the community. And it cannot be healthy unless each one of its members are. And finally, we gain the commitment and the power to change the world." In this time, when we look around us and long to feel at home in a country where so many of us question home, this is what we need. We need a home we can rest in, be known in, go forth from to change the world. When we, like Martha, become distracted by the communal labor, by social systems that benefit some at the expense of others, we must return home to sit and listen, to affirm, as Jesus did for Mary and Martha, the mutuality of value in the communal labor and in the communal relationship, of our own value and the value of our beloved siblings in love. We come together in this, our Unitarian Universalist home, to worship together, to live our values together, to bless and to be blessed. We keep our home clean by asking the hard questions, by listening to the voices on the margins who society tells us to ignore, like our siblings of color, our youth, those who identify as women, our disabled folks, our trans siblings, our LGBTQIA folks and siblings, and even our elders. All of the voices that are pushed to the margins, knowing that the food is in fact for all of us, rather than for a few privileged Mr. All of Yous. In this home, we all have value, and all of our stories are sacred. We gathered here come from many homes. Today I sit in this American home on a stool from my Luya mother's home, on which she blessed me in Kenya last July. In this, our UU home, a home of many homes, let us sit together at each other's feet like Mary, and let us work together towards our communal good like Martha. We know there is much work to do today and in the weeks, months, and years ahead, as we take the actions aligned to our values in generosity and equity, justice and transformation, interdependence and pluralism centered on love, to build our communal home together, the home for all of us. Hapa ni nyumbani kwetu. This is our home. Hapa ni nyumbani kwetu. This is our home. Let us rise in body or spirit and join our voices in hymn number 18, What Wondrous Love.
What
close us today with a benediction. May we all be blessed in this, our Unitarian Universalist home. May we open our hearts with radical welcome to all who would knock at these doors. May we welcome them in the way that we talked about, with tea, with hugs, with food, and most of all with an open heart for all those who may speak other languages, other interpretations of English, other languages of other nations. Let us welcome all in our homes and in our hearts in the sacred work of the divine. May it be so.
Let the ground bless the road.